Golden Soil, finest work 1992 to 2019. Written by Rupert Mccall, narrated by Rupert Mccall.
Golden Soil is dedicated to my mum and dad, who backed me and believed in me from day one. But a special light now shines on my dad, who left us in April before this audiobook was released. One of life's great characters and one of my best mates. This one's for KF. Some memories are scratched into my mind so vividly. That day in grade 5 at Our Lady of Lourdes, Woody Point, might be one of the most important. That hour, on an otherwise uneventful afternoon, when Mr. Grant handed out the books and nominated a page. That moment when I opened up my book, sized up the words in front of me, and soaked up the story of the banjo. On the outer Baku where the churches are few, and the men of religion are scanty, on a road never crossed, except by folk that are lost, one Michael McGee had a shanty. If a 10-year-old kid could be captivated enough by the craft of a storyteller and serenaded by a rhythm that rolled effortlessly into the inspiration of something that seemed so very clever, then I was that kid. My class was required to learn it off by heart and recite it on a parent-teacher night at school, word for word. A bush christening by Banjo Patterson is still embedded into the deepest recesses of my recall. I didn't know it then, but opening up that page inside that book would open up a pathway in my life perfectly suited to the person I was destined to become. Because the spark that Patterson ignited by the way he told his tale assumed the form of a flame when I wrote my first poem the following year. And by the time I was in my late teens, some kind of fire had exploded in my heart. As Berlin's Wall bit the dust and the late 80s bopped boldly into the early 90s, I was engaged in the struggle of a law degree, playing rugby for brothers on winter weekends, and in between such follies, embracing the bright lights of the city and its many bars with genuine passion. My best mates had just turned 21, and speeches began to emerge from my mouth in the guise of poetical tributes that were generally pretty well received. I won a competition on radio station Triple M with an ode I'd penned to the Brisbane Broncos in their fledgling NRL days. 12 tickets to a home game was the prize, and I was absolutely stoked. Then, another one of those moments. If I close my eyes, I can still see them. The faces of the partners of one of Brisbane's largest law firms circling me brutally in that boardroom during a job interview. You got a TE score of 975 at school, is what she said. Why hasn't that translated into high distinctions in your law degree at QUT? Well, the answer might have had something to do with the bars that I mentioned before, but I mumbled something else and stumbled on, and so it continued. By the time it came to the final question, I was a train wreck, derailed, disconsolate and defeated, looking for the quickest way off the platform and out of the station. And then she said it. So, you fancy yourself as a poet, do you? It wasn't so much the question, but the hint of a smirk that added an extra layer of insult to my injury. As I trudged out, knowing full well that my status would remain unemployed for the time being, the only question left was the one I had for myself. Why in God's name did I list poetry in the hobby section of my resume? Working for another not so highly distinctive law firm in Brisbane, opportunities abounded. To write, that is. You see, the job description of an article clerk is not really a very glamorous one. You pretty much do all the jobs that nobody else in the office wants to do, and that meant endless hours of walking, serving and filing documents in various offices and courts around town. And the system back then was basically take a number and wait to be called.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?